So this bill is very, very important because what it says when they're ready to go to college, we're going to be ready to support them. And if you think about that, that's cheaper than sending somebody to prison or them being on our system all the time. But they get a college education and they're off in the workforce and they're often running and working. And so to me, I was really excited. I was really excited when I did that bill and we presented it. Afterwards, one of the committee members came to me and said, I want to sign up on the bill to be a joint author with you, because they like that bill so much. And this session, I'm not doing anything with juveniles, but since I was last time in the interim, in the summer, I went to all the juvenile prisons. And one of the things that we have 5 facilities in Texas for juveniles that we house them at, and they're all over the state of Texas. I went to each one of them. One of the common themes that was there was that there's an illiteracy rate that's very, very high. And a lot of these kids can't read. Here's how you overcome that disability. Here's how you succeed in school. Then we're going to have better outcomes. We're going to have less people in our juvenile justice system. We're going to have less people going to prison. And it's something I found late. So one of the bills that we're carrying for that is that anybody that gets in the juvenile justice system will immediately be tested for dyslexia. Me llamo John Lujan, soy representante estatal de San Antonio in Bexar County, Texas. This is my second session. We're in session right now and working really hard. And as you probably know, session ends this May, and we're running fast and furious to the end.
Wonderful. That makes it all worth it. All these sessions, and we know you've been working so hard to make these big changes for the state of Texas, for the well-being of all the constituents. Thank you so much for having some minutes to talk a little bit more about all the efforts that you're doing. We know you're very strong on foster care. Can you share with the audience which are the main points that people can just know about this bill, why it makes it so important?
Well, so just to back up a little bit, we submitted about 27, 28 bills that I did from my office, and plus we're on committee, so we're hearing other people's bills. Everything's running fast and furious. My foster care bill, I was able to get that out to committee, and I'm very, very excited about that bill. It's a tuition waiver so that kids that when they go through the foster care system, if they never get adopted, they'll get out and they get free college to the age of 25. And when you look at the statistics, these kids, most of the time, they're going to be homeless. They go into our prisons because there's nobody there for them to fall back on. And a lot of times, by the time they get their life together and somebody helps them, somebody intervenes, these kids are, at that point, start thinking of college, and they're already in their mid-20s, and now the tuition runs out. So this bill is very, very important because what it says when they're ready to go to college, we're going to be ready to support them. And if you think about that, that's cheaper than sending somebody to prison or them being on our system all the time. But they get a college education and they're off in the workforce and they're often running and working. And so to me, I was really excited. I was really excited when I did that bill and we presented it. Afterwards, one of the committee members came to me and said, I want to sign up on the bill to be a joint author with you, because they like that bill so much. And so I'm very, very proud of that bill. And then hearing the testimony of people that have gone through the system were telling me how the tuition fee waiver really helps them and how this is going to help so many other kids. So that one I'm really, really excited about.
Well, it really sounds so impressive and so much taking care of the young, taking care of the future of Texas. Also, I want to ask you a little bit more about this dyslexia, because it's kind of related also with the kids, with the educational skills. But what's the difference and what is the main purpose of this?
Well, so last session, I was on the Juvenile Justice Committee. I was vice chair. And this session, I'm not doing anything with juveniles, but since I was last time in the interim, in the summer, I went to all the juvenile prisons. And one of the things that we have 5 facilities in Texas for juveniles that we house them at, and they're all over the state of Texas. I went to each one of them. One of the common themes that was there was that there's an illiteracy rate that's very, very high. And a lot of these kids can't read, and most of them are going to be minority kids. And then when I started, I didn't even go for dyslexia, but when I started hearing about that, I came back to San Antonio. I started doing research and started looking up dyslexia and finding out that a lot of these kids, if they don't identify it early, they're smart kids. But when they get into 5th, 6th grade, they can't read. and they don't want to do a book report. They're embarrassed. Now they got pride. So they start skipping school, acting silly, causing problems with the parents. And if they're with a single parent or a grandmother and in foster care, nobody's there to really have them identified as dyslexia to get the help they need, and they fall through the cracks and they end up in our prison systems. So it was real important for me to find out, man, we really need to make sure and do the right thing for these kids. We have to do what's best for them. If we can identify them early, teach them that they have this disability, here's how you overcome that disability, here's how you succeed in school, then we're going to have better outcomes. We're going to have less people in our juvenile justice system. We're going to have less people going to prison. And it's something I found late. So one of the bills that we're carrying for that is that anybody that gets in the juvenile justice system will immediately be tested for dyslexia. Because once they identify them as dyslexia and they get back to their regular public schools, they now get all the services and help they need so they can face their disability. And I'm very, very proud of that one. I really think that one's going to change lives. I think that one's going to really bless and be a benefit to a lot of young people. And I'm really excited about that one.
Oh, it already sounds so great. Both of them that you've been sharing with us really inspires us for the future. We've seen that much in Texas that they're really investing in the future, in the younger generations. So this is something that I think is attracting a lot of people to come to Texas. What else makes Texas so unique? We were sharing a little bit more about this uniqueness of the Texan spirit.
Well, you know what I'm really proud of is in Texas, if you go to Washington, D.C., or even a lot of other places, there's a big division between like Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats sit on this side, the Republicans sit on this side, and they kind of fight. Here in Texas, on the floor, I got a Democrat sitting in front of me. I'm sitting next to a Republican. I got a Republican here, a Democrat there. It's all mixed up. Bipartisanship, we need to make an effort to make sure that we have that, because here's what's wrong. The far right is going to pull very hard to bring that far right over and bring the Republicans. The far left's going to pull their side, and they want that division. But when we have so much more in common than we have that divides us. There are things that divide us, but there's so much more in the middle that if we work on that and we concentrate on those things, we make life better for everybody in Texas. That's what excites me. And that's why, they did a story yesterday. A local San Antonio news company came to Austin, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, and did a story about me and my best buddy. I call him my best friend. His name is Bojani, a Democrat out of the Dallas area. He's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm a Christian man, I'm a man of faith. I go to church, I teach Sunday school. He's a strong Muslim guy. We're totally opposites in every aspect. But what binds us together is our love for Texas, our love for family, and our love for our community. And we work on those things to make things better for our state and for our country. But I think that needs to be the example. There'll be times when he and I might be a little opposite on things, and that's okay. But we can respect each other. We don't have to go bombing each other and then hating them on everything else, because there's a lot of things that we can work well together on. So I'm really excited about that stuff.
Yeah, this is so inspiring, especially now that things need to move forward, when you need to bring up like coalitions to make things really happen. Otherwise, they just get stuck in the middle of a hope for the future, but you cannot just finally make it happen. How do you feel this session coming up, like in the most important topics?
Well, right now the session I think has moved along pretty smooth, although probably starting today, the bills are coming to the floor. There might be some more divisiveness, but right now everything's working well. I don't like when colleagues look at a bill and say, I'm going to vote yes or no depending on who brought it. Did a Democrat bring it or a Republican? It shouldn't be that. We should look at the face of the bill and say, yes, we're going to support this bill, or no, I can't because of whatever reason, and then try to make it better, right? But I'm real hopeful. I'm proud of the colleagues that I work with here in the House. We have some really good, caring people, even people that I thought were a little divisive. You talk to them, they're good people and they really care. So I'm working really hard to work in a bipartisan way to do the right thing for all of Texans. And I think my colleagues are doing that also. And we're doing real well at it. I'm excited about it.
Representative Lujan, you give us hope for the future for all citizens here in the state of Texas. And that's why everybody wants to come to Texas now.
That's why everybody should come to Texas. The other thing I would make a plug for Texas is I'm the chair of the international relations. So I've been blessed to meet people from other countries where I never knew before, right? And I'm meeting people from all over the world coming to our committee, talking to us, wanting to invest in Texas. I've done, my staff and I have now gone above and beyond to find all the statistics. Texas is #1 in this, that, all the different things. We're one of the, I think we're the 8th or 9th largest economy in the world. We, as a state by itself, and by this time next year, we'll be larger than France as far as for economic development and boom and GDP. And that's very, very impressive. So in order to keep that, we have to make sure that Texas stays business friendly, make sure that we take care of our workforce and we have an educated and powerful workforce. And that's what drives everything. And that's what keeps the economy of Texas moving. And I'm proud to be part of that.
That sounds wonderful. And really that makes us so hopeful for the future, and also that you're doing so much for the future generations. So definitely, Texas is the state where you have to be. Thank you so much, Representative Lujan.
Thank you.
Gracias por suscribirse y darle like al video. Los esperamos en la próxima entrevista.